GST is set to increase to 9% on 1st January 2024, and we should actually be happy that it's increasing 1%. Yeah. Watch on before you throw rotten eggs at me. So, before anything, you need to know how a country is run. Everything needs money, and that includes running a country. If not, who will pay our police, civil defense, and many other organizations that keep Singapore running? In Singapore, their money comes from many sources. About does come from the taxes we pay, like the ERP, our income tax, and of course the GST. And for the tax, if you think GST contributed about, you are wrong. It's one of the highest, but not the highest. The highest is actually corporate and personal income tax. Now here's the thing. Before 1994, there is no GST one. Yeah, I kid you not. GST might be younger than some of us. You see, as mentioned earlier, there are many other taxes, and corporate and personal income taxes are one of the highest one. Corporate tax is like the tax a company has to pay, which is at a flat rate of 17% of the chargeable income. Personal income tax is the tax we all pay every year based on our income, which is about 2% to 22%, which will increase to 24% soon. The more you earn, the more you pay. And if you never ever need to pay, that means you never ever has fish for chai pen before. So, before 1994, these two taxes can be very high for the top earners, up to 40%. I know what you're thinking. Good charge those rich companies and rich people high It sounds good on paper. But if the rates remain this way, I bet all my assets that big and rich companies like Meta or Google won't have set up their HQ here in Singapore. You see, while it sounds good, the long-term effect is that it makes us less competitive. International companies won't come to Singapore to set up their businesses, and we will have fewer jobs and less corporate tax in the long run. So, one of the solutions is to implement GST so we can reduce the corporate and personal tax. On 1st April 1994, the first GST was implemented at 3%, and I bet no one believed it. I mean, who the heck will implement anything on 1st April? But it was the worst joke ever, cause it's not a joke. For 9 years, it didn't increase, but in 2003, it has to increase for the same reason. We need to rely more on GST for tax revenue. And the rate increased 1% in 2003 and another percent in 2004 to 5%. That didn't last long. 3 years later, in budget 2007, the second Minister of Finance, Tamang, announced that GST will increase by 2%. The increase will occur after 5 months, and the increase didn't come gradually, but at 2% at one go.
It is better to raise prices at one go and compensate Singaporeans with a substantial offset package. By doing it in one step, it also means that no one can profiteer by raising prices in anticipation of a second step. For businesses, it also saves costs because they will not need to adjust their systems twice.
Now, this is why we should be glad that the current increase comes in 2 years for us to get used to it. Although Taman did predict the future about something. Comment if you know what it is. Now, with the 2007 increase, our personal and corporate tax become a lot more competitive, closer to what we are paying now, which now leads to the next question. Like that, if so, with the latest change in GST, does that mean our personal income tax and corporate tax will be reduced too? No. Unlike previous increases, this latest increase is due to the projected increased spending in Singapore, especially with an aging population. What's interesting is that between 2007 to now, there are actually 2 new GST. One is for imported digital services, which took place from 2020, and GST for imported low-value goods, which took place since this year. Now, of course, we might not be happy with the increase, but at least we got years to prepare. Unlike back in 2007, whereby we have only 5 months to prepare. So, if you think you've learned something, consider subscribing. And also watch this video to know why some people kind of don't need to pay GST.